things racing and Jesus with your hosts, Daniel Hillian and Mitch Reynolds.
That's right, man. It is episode 58, and this one, it's a dandy. We've got I guess he's not the youngest. We call him Baby King, but Tyler King is going to give us a little time tonight. He's coming on to talk about his impressive weekend up there at Pine Lake. Cut a little short due to the weather, but hey, everybody had to do the same thing, and they were all part of it. And Tyler King comes away 1-1-1 on the weekend in pro class, spec tire class, and pro-am open class. So yeah, man, got the broom out, making it happen. So we're going to do a little EDT recap of the weekend, a couple of highlights, things that stood out to me and my man Mitch. By the way, how are we doing tonight, Mitchell?
Doing pretty good, Super D, trying to keep my old eyelids open. It's been a little bit of a long day, but excited to be here and talk a little EDT racing, and looking forward to everyone hearing from Tyler King and just all things Baby King, Whole Shot King. Those are his two nicknames that we've given him over time. But he did all those things. I don't know if he did all the baby things. No, he did the whole shot thing, winning the thing, sweeping it, and super cool.
Making it happen. Well, as always, right here off the top, 88 Live to Ride, RJR, All-Terrain Motorsports. 110% nutrition, man. I tell you what, there's nothing better about 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me. I usually drink a cup of coffee in the morning, try to do water throughout the day, and then about 2 o'clock, hit that ultra white, just in, like, we've got water bottles right here on the table, but you can put it in your shaker cup, you can put it in a little water bottle. Man, absolutely love it. So go to 110% nutrition, use our code REMAIN at checkout, save you a little bit of money. Phoenix Handlebars, actually sold my CRF. Got a good buddy, Tyle Jones, bought that, and he's putting the laps down on it. So I got to start on another one. So I will be hitting up Phoenix Handlebars, my man Jason Gerald over there. And I'm going to use the code RITR15 to save me some money on a sweet set of bars. So for Brand MX, go there, get your sweet gear, Mitch. You know it, man. We love it. The zippers on the back of the pants, the buckle, the jersey, all good fit. Get your name on the back. They'll take care of you over there at Sofa Brand. Use our code RTRP at checkout. Tell you what, man, I was keeping up with, of course, our man Eric Ashcraft with Dragon Race Fuels and Close Encounter Whitetail Outfitters, but how about Mr. Klein? He had a little extra time on his hands. It wasn't just constant racing, and he put together some really cool edits, some cool slow-mo stuff over the weekend. And so big shout-out to Josh and PH3 Photo and Video for doing that. He also did a little edit for Dylan Jones at Wood Well Done.
That's right, Wood Well Done.
Wood Well Done Racing. And Dylan had a great weekend, had some podiums, and I think it's because he got those new Kaiser wheels on the back. I think they're paying off for him.
He does rock those nice Kaiser wheels.
Yep.
Look clean. Had even put the mud plug on there. Like it.
Love it. I mean, Tyler Allen is running them, I do believe, with the plugs.
It is the Kaiser wheel takeover.
That's right.
We've been pushing for it. And,
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too, man.
Yep. I've got a new build it might just end up with a set of those wheels. Stay tuned. We'll let you know about it. But I do have a Canebrake Racing cause for concern, and it involves our interviewers. So after we get done with the interview, I will drop that nugget on you because there are some concerns. There are some concerns.
Yes,
but
definitely.
Hey, man, let's talk about Pine Lake this last weekend. Man, it was good. I think right off the top, EDT racing is a fickle thing. Because this season, we even talk in the interview with our man Tyler that they've got one round left. They're going to do that makeup round back at Dresden. Well, the last time we were at Dresden, it was the surface of the sun. We never left the press box. And if you'll go back, you can catch that episode. But we got Dairy Queen in the press box. You can go back and watch the live feed. We got Texas Roadhouse or Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse. Yeah.
Got that door dashed in. Man, we were living the high life. And slept in the airport. No, it was that was a fun.
It was a trip.
It was a trip, yeah. So, got one more round to go. But there were some championships that were wrapped up this weekend. You know, even though there's one more round to go, and I think the biggest one is our man CJ. Man, he's on a roll. He picks up right where he left off. He wins that EDT Pro Championship with one round to go. Now the Pro M classes, there's still a little bit to shake out. The spec tire class is it looks pretty. I mean, CJ, just do your thing and you'll be fine. But the Pro-Am Open class, that's the one. There is
that remains open.
Exactly. Nice. I see what you did there. 9 points between the top three. So it's CJ 8 points back, Brad, and then 1 point behind Brad, 9 behind CJ is Tyler King. So man, it is going to be a fun time. Someone else I wanted to give a little shout out to, dude. Another guy that's having a sneaky good season that's really coming together. And I didn't put this in the notes, so you're looking at me like, that's not in the outline.
I'm waiting.
Tyler Allen.
Indeed.
He wins the Sioux Valley Cycle Club, the Gary Meyer Memorial Race. He comes home with the win up there in South Dakota and just basically picks up where he left off. He comes away the weekend with a 4.55 in the three classes. So, hey, shout out Tyler Allen, man. He was a great interview. You can go back and listen to that episode. But great guy. It's easy to visit with, super friendly. So I just wanted to give our man Tyler Allen a little shout out. And then you've got a question mark here on the outline, and we'll get into it as we kind of talk about our guest a little bit. Tyler King and Jace White, question mark, go.
Yes, absolutely. What I mean here is, are Tyler King and Jace White the next thing? Like, these dudes are young. They don't know any better yet. And they're at the top, man. They have already ascended to the top level of this sport. You know, Brad's there. He's the seasoned vet. CJ is coming to his prime. I mean, what else can you say about CJ? He's rocking it. But, dude, Tyler King and Jace White really don't care. I mean, they're like, we're here, we're fast, and we're going to do the thing. And so these two guys, are we going to see them really take over like for the next 10 years? Are these going to be the dudes? Like, are they the dudes?
Yeah, I mean, there is a very, very, very real possibility that could absolutely happen. That's what, as you say that, I'm going back and looking here at the results. Obviously, Tyler King, he's been at all the races. He's putting in the time. Jace actually ended up missing the first round, which would have been Black Ankle, and they missed the round at Dresden the first time. So everyone missed Black Ankle. Sorry. I take that back. I'm so sorry. But he misses the round at Dresden.
They didn't necessarily miss it. The rain. We said the fickle thing about EDT racing.
Yep.
Mother Nature has peed on us a few times this year.
And then, so he misses the race at Dresden. Well, then the next race at Pine Lake, I think he blew a tire off the bead. I'm looking through the results here.
He had a great run and came in that option line, kicked it sideways, and blew the tire off the bead.
So he's got a second, a 20th, a 5.72, and I'm looking in just the Hoosier. This is just the first one to open, Hoosier Spec. Okay. If he shows up and gets, say he gets a 7th right there, that moves him up like 5 spots in the points. So if he makes that first Dresden round, doesn't blow a tire off, and this can happen to anybody. I mean, this could happen to any of the racers, okay? So that's something you have to deal with. But you just add in that round that they weren't able to make it to, and old Jace White is sitting like 4th in points. You know, so yes, you are right. The top of the top right now is CJ. He's crushing it on top, making it happen. And then Brad is still right there, which I think is just huge tip of the hat to him.
Absolutely.
Man. He's been doing it at the top level for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, not to mention coming up as an amateur and all the thing. Also running a business and a concrete plant, all these things. Brad got a lot going on. Family man, all these things.
Absolutely.
Still making it happen. And then next in line is Tyler King, 21, and then Jace White, who's, I think, 20, 19 or 20.
Yeah, I mean, dude just graduated high
18.
school.
He's 18.
He just graduated high school.
God.
So that's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
You know, you see somebody, these two guys with just this raw speed and talent and really kind of similar riding styles. I mean, these boys like to pitch it and they're not afraid to just send the thing. So it's pretty exciting to see at their age. You know, we give this a couple, 2 or 3 years. I mean, maybe even next year we're talking about this, but I'm saying the next 2 or 3 years when they really put every part of their racecraft together, that maturity, that all those things.
All the things,
dude. I'm just saying. Tyler King, Jace White. Not a question mark. It should be an exclamation point.
Right.
So.
Well, just this weekend alone, Tyler goes 1-1-1 and Jace goes 3-2-2.
Yeah, exactly.
So, now that's not the whole story of a season, but I mean, it's still very, very, very impressive.
It definitely is.
You know, I mean, you obviously have quite an awesome resume, and I always commend you for that.
Well, thank you.
I don't have that, but I wish I did. That's sick, dude.
Absolutely. It's really cool. Not absolutely on the resume deal. I'm not trying to like bump my own chest or anything.
No.
But what I'm saying is pointing back to Tyler and Jace,
right.
Just two guys that I am excited to see the last race here and the coming years. A very, very bright future for both of these guys. Did you see the battle between Bailey Thomas and Mel Torchio?
I did. So Bailey gets gets a, you know, we got to rewind here a little bit. So
okay.
We've got a little, our relationship with, not with Bailey is complicated, not with Julius Thomas, but with Dustin, it's complicated. Because if you think back a year ago, right
20.
now, yeah.
20?
Yeah.
20.
It's the BTR women's shootout. Bailey goes, having a good season. You know, I mean, she's looked up to Mel. She's looked up to Beth for a long time. I think she would say that those girls have had a lot of influence on her. And she goes to the BTR shootout, having a great season, wins one of the belts, the women's class belt at Indiana a few weeks before this. So she's riding high, gets there. There's 20 ladies in this race, and they're going to draw for gate pick. Bailey, I think, was the 4th, 5th person pretty early, sticks her hand in, pulls out chip number 20.
Chip 20.
And it's just, and that's what it was, because I was like, why am I back? And I couldn't figure it out. And she's like, don't talk to Dad about 20. I said, never again.
We won't ever. I mean, it won't even be a year later, and we won't be mentioning it.
Right.
We would never do that.
But this season,
an opportunity to tee that up, we would do it.
Yeah. That's low hanging fruit, man. You got to go for it. But to see, you know, here the end of the season, the last half of the season, man, Bailey has really been putting it together, and so she ends up grabbing the whole shot. And I tell you what, Mel was trying high,
everything,
low, inside, outside,
using the bumper. I mean, Nerf bars. They were going at it.
I mean, just so you know, like Mel is a super athlete. She's like ultimate frisbee guru champion. Like I was waiting for the next resort for her was a drop kick.
Yes,
you know,
it was.
or a roundhouse kick to the face, something. I mean that was what was left to try to get this
She
spot.
didn't have a fanny pack on, but if she did,
boom,
she was pulling. She had that thing wide open. She was pulling out every trick in the bag.
Yep.
Everything she had for Bailey, and Bailey was not having it.
Yeah, so that, I mean, on one hand, you know, I'm super excited for Bailey, but for Mel to race, you know, a good, hard, clean race, and then at the end of it, you know, and even Tyler talks about it in the interview, to be able to go, hey man, that's awesome, congratulations,
Absolutely.
good job, you know, that's cool. So it's pretty impressive that this is back-to-back rounds that Bailey has been able to come away on that top step of the podium. So.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. I'm glad that we have really put in the time. We have been training. We've been preparing. We have mentally been getting focused before races. We have really put in the time. So I'm proud of our efforts and our team that we have built. It feels good. I'm glad that we have been able to do this. So, you know, just me and the Thomases, just
you and
after.
The French, oui.
Yeah, yee. But man, what an awesome a battle there. Hey, someone else that we made a post about him last time. I mean, he's Danville's own, Danville, Ohio's own Joey Mickley, dude. He goes 3 for 3, three hole shots. I mean, he is another. I guess we could say like he is the top amateur. He's leading the points in Open A, Pro Light, and College Boy. Well, if you're going to run the next class is the Pro-Ams.
That's right.
Like, I mean, that's where you're at. And every once in a while, he's dipped his toe in there. But, man, again, want to give a big shout-out to my man Joey for he's got the Walsh CRF. He doesn't ride a Suzuki, and he will tell you he doesn't ride a Suzuki.
That's
he
right.
rides a
Walsh CRF. And I have gotten that wrong before, but that is exactly what that is.
And did you know, and it pains me to admit this, but he is a cross trainer on the MX side of things.
He is. He rides the motocross, races the motocross. And so, there you go. Just another good old chink in the armor, if you will. I don't know.
Yeah. Guys, you got to get in the woods. It's way safer. It's just as physical. And just start racing in the woods.
I mean,
you heard it here first.
I hear you saying it. It sounds good. I mean, I don't disagree, but I think the results are kind of speaking for themselves. So
I have something up the sleeve that I can't say anything.
And they're short today, so it's like falling out.
Yeah, dude, I got the little Red Ryder BB gun here popping out of the sleeves. These aren't Smith and Wessons, but over the weekend. Did some homework, got to visit with some riders, some elite riders, some not so elite riders. Just call it like I see it, man. And I believe one of these riders that I had the privilege to visit with, was it on the phone? Was it a text message? Was it in person? We'll never know.
I feel like you're going to tell us, though.
I'm not going to say a word.
You're not going to tell us.
Nope.
Gosh. Okay.
When it all plays out and this individual starts crushing it, then I will drop this nugget. But this rider came to me and said, I need to get in the woods, and I shed a tear. So excited.
So you were very excited.
Very excited. So, yes, I've recruited one at the top. Guys, I'm telling you, you top of the line people, you got to get in the woods. That's where it's at. So they're like, hey, man, I think we have all the parts and pieces. We're going to try to give it a go. Not that this person hasn't ever done it before, but is going to try to be a little more intentional about it.
Okay, so, I like it.
They're listening.
It's good to hear, dude. I'm going to say I'm proud of the cross training. That is one thing. At the end of the day, I'm proud of the cross training, but the motocross is better. So that's pretty much what that means.
More than anything, I just want guys to cross train on quads. Yeah. Every time these knuckleheads get on dirt bikes, they get hurt. Stay off the dirt bikes. Okay. Just ride quads. We are quadist, okay?
Oh, exactly. We are quadist! Exclamation point. Bing.
That's hilarious. Sorry. That's what I'm saying. See, even the computer knows.
The computer knows. Says quadist. Got it. Check. That's like your AI over there was kicking in.
Get in the woods, y'all. It's gonna be great.
Hey, how about our super mini dudes? Let's talk some super mini dudes.
Here for it.
Jackson Burchett,
the man,
my JB Mod man.
Mm-hmm.
He's up there again. Corbin Beasley, my JB Mod guy. Yep. He's up there again. He's leading the points in both classes now.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what?
What?
Dallas Martin and Carson Everly said, Mitch, you spoke too soon.
That's right.
We're coming back up in this party. And they rejoined it here in this last one.
Yeah.
I had said Jackson and Corbin. It's going to be 1-2 the rest of the way, and Dallas and both Dallas and Carson, they wanted to disprove me on that. They said we're back up here with these guys. So excited to see as this last race pans out, man. This thing's going to come down the wire for the podium. It really is. For all the 1, 2, and 3 spots. So
yeah, and the thing is, we've seen the results are kind of all over the place. I mean, you've got guys that have won and have a 15th. You've got guys that, it looks like the top 4 in both classes have wins. I was about to say, look, you've got, no, Carson Everly in the All-Star class doesn't have a win and is second in points. And behind him, Jackson has 2 wins and is in third in points. I mean, you don't know, man. You better come prepared in Super Mini and Youth All-Star because I think you nailed it, man. Anything can happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, and it's one of the, and there's a couple other close classes, that we pay attention to. But what I love about this is Corbin is on a JB mod. Jackson's on a JB mod. Waylon is, I believe it's either a 400EX or a TRX chassis. Dallas is on
the Raptor.
Carson is on a 400EX. So there's so many different configurations that you can do with these motors. And I think we've got 3 different chassis that have wins.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I mean, at first you're going to be like, oh, I got to have this one. It's like, well, not necessarily. I mean, that is really, really, really cool to see. Sorry, there's been 4 different chassis that have won as I look through both classes. So I'm excited, dude. I will be glued here in a couple weeks as that they do the makeup round there in Dresden. Hopefully the weather holds off. I know up in that part of the country, anything can happen, but it'll definitely be cooler. It will definitely be cooler.
Absolutely.
But man, I'm so excited.
Get those RD12s out. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe it can border
20.
off those 20s. Who knows? Yeah. Anytime that moisture came up or is a little bit cooler and I can get on those 12s, I was pretty excited.
That's the key. Man, that's something, this is, I mean, we are talking EDT here, but it is just crazy how I know I say the other day, this was a couple of rounds ago there for the Midwest Series at Benton, and one of the guys that they're still pretty new, and they're coming in, they're going, dude, look at these tires. And I said, that's perfect. They're like, they won't last the race. And they're like, do we need to move? They're trying to figure out how do we go up in air pressure, just kind of lost. And I said, dude, your chassis is working perfect. Like I can watch it. It's doing everything it needs to do. You just have to go to a harder tire. Yeah. And they're like, what? Like, we've only ever bought 20s. Yeah. And I'm like, well, they make a 30. And if you want to dive off in the American Racer world, there's a 44 if you want to get real crazy. I said, but you've got to go to a harder tire. I mean, the bike is doing everything you're asking it to do. I mean, that's how a tire's supposed to look. They're like, but it won't last the race. And I said, you got to go to a harder tire. So they did, and I think they had a pretty good weekend.
All right, nice.
So, well, tell you what, man, those are just a few of the little highlights I wanted to hit and brag on a few folks. I mean, Kinley Reed, she's just crushing it.
She is crushing it.
Got to give a big shout out
shot.
to Kinley.
I mean, like, she Harold Goodman whole shotted him.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, wow.
Hey,
incredible.
Anthony got a whole, I'm wearing my 500 performance hat here tonight, but Anthony had one whole shot in there. So what up, Anthony? Yeah, we see you. But man, dude, I just love it. I love everything that's going on in the race world. It's fun to be a little cog and a big old wheel, man. It's a lot of fun. But tell you what, let's get to our interview with Tyler King, man. So good to visit with him. And so tell you what, we'll catch a break. Y'all stay with us, and we'll be right back.
We're joined by the number 46, Tyler King from North Carolina, the winner of all 3 classes at Pine Lake. And by all 3 classes, I mean all 3 pro classes or the pro and 2 pro-am classes. Tyler King, what's up, my boy?
Not much. I appreciate you guys having me on here.
And we're excited to get you on. It's been overdue, really, to have you on here and just let everybody hear your story, man. But what an incredible weekend there at Pine Lake. But first off, Tyler, just let the listeners know who Tyler King is and what you're about, man.
Well, I'm 21 years old, and I live in Ellerbe, North Carolina. And on a day-to-day basis, I mean, I run a chicken farm. I just recently bought a business and got 6 chicken houses that I run. And day-to-day, that's what I do 7 days a week, other than racing. And I do a little catfishing on the side, but that's about it.
An entrepreneur, a chicken man, an entrepreneur, and a fisherman. I've already learned something about Tyler King. I like it, dude.
I love it.
Tell us a little bit. We'll just kind of fast forward a little bit. So we started the year on a TRX. You've kind of been a TRX man, but made a switch a little bit earlier in the season there at Pine Lake. And when Super D and I were there, and it really seemed to spark something. So tell us a little bit about the switch from your TRX to the CRF.
Yeah, I mean, the CRF is a different world. I'd definitely say that. But I mean, I'd say, I still like the TRX, and I think that me staying on the TRX is one of the biggest things that helped me, because once I got on the CRF, power was there, and I had the skill to win the race and do what I needed to do. So it all fell together.
Absolutely. You're starting to stack those wins up now, almost to the double-digit number there as far as pro wins now. So that's super cool. Yeah, if I remember a conversation we had a year ago at Black Ankle, you're like, just wait till the moisture comes up in this track and the TRX is going to come alive. So there's no doubt about it that you have had great finishes on the TRX. You've done really good. But we've just seen a spark of late on the CRF. You and Mr. Brian Robertson have just really got that thing dialed, because I know there's a little bit of a challenge when you switch from the TRX to the hybrid platform, or at least I did. There's a lot of setup changes. I mean, the chassis handles different things. There's definitely I like the power, but it usually takes a little time to figure that chassis out. But it seems like you guys just made the switch and then just came out firing immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that the CRF is a lot more kind of just rigid, but I mean, with Brian in my corner, setup really isn't an issue. He's the guy to go to for that.
I would agree with you on that. You definitely have an advantage right there. I mean, that man is smart, and that's why he kind of rules this whole EDT racing world. That's for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't have anybody better in my corner.
I would agree with that for sure. And you represent him well, man. I mean, you've got to be able to get on a machine and make it go, and you definitely do that. So to see you guys, two guys teamed up and what y'all are doing is too cool. And just, man, the future's bright for you. I say it many times. I feel like, guys are in their mid-20s before they really come into their prime. And for you to be 21 and already at the top of the class, man, there's going to be a lot of years of good racing ahead for you. So let's step back a little bit, Tyler. You have been racing for a while, but tell us how you got started in racing.
Well, I was 6 years old, and I mean, my dad used to race, and his brother raced, and but they stepped away from it for a while, and then whenever I was 6, I was on a little Casilla, is what I started running on, out at Black Ankle, and we just went from there. I mean, it was anytime we'd go to the track. Anytime we could go to the track, that's what we'd do. It was always fun, something we enjoyed, and something we stuck with.
And so, how far are you from Black Ankle? I mean, it's obviously a local track, but just how far of a drive was it for you over there?
It's about 25, 30 minutes. It's not bad.
That's a heartbreaker, man. That's a long trip, dude.
Yeah.
One of the best tracks in the country, and it's basically in your backyard. Man, I am just slightly jealous, Tyler King. I am just slightly jealous. No, I wish.
Yeah, I don't get to ride as much as I'd like to. I wish I could go up there about twice a week or something, but I'm so stacked up with the farm. I mean, I hardly ever ride other than just going to the races, and I mean, that's about it. Well, sometimes I'll ride with CJ Robson. I mean, he lives close. We'll jump on some 250EXs or something.
So Tyler, how do you keep yourself conditioned? I mean, I know you're a working man and you're being physical, but how do you keep yourself conditioned for the race weekend?
I mean, I just work. That's about it.
And then just line up and just go.
What I do. I mean, it's not an easy job.
So maybe just the physical nature of your job kind of keeps you conditioned and ready for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in those hot months, in the June and July races where you're just marinating in those chicken houses with the chickens,
Right.
Yeah, just being conditioned to the heat is a lot of it for sure, and drinking lots of water. And obviously, you got a lot of fat on you too, so I'm sure that helps, right?
Yeah. I've been trying to get some, but it ain't working.
No, not at all, dude.
If you find the recipe, let me know, Tyler. I've been searching for it for a while as well.
I can hook you boys up tonight.
You're always thinking, man, if I had a little more weight, I can get a little more traction. But maybe that's our advantage.
Right.
Maybe that's an advantage we have. Maybe that helps us on the whole shot. Yeah. Our little light butts or something.
Hey, I tell you what, man. Since you've moved over to the CRF platform, I mean, it's obviously working well, and you and Brian are figuring some things out. But man, how about this weekend? 3 whole shots and won all 3 classes. I know we've already said it, but That's impressive because there is a stacked group of guys, and it's hard to break into that top three. And we've seen you dip your toe in there occasionally throughout the season. But man, this was pretty dominating, man. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, I'd say there's no certain thing that made me win. I mean, it's everything together. Just Brian, Dassa, PP shocks, the Hoosier tires. I mean, everything comes into play to
Yep.
put the machine up front.
They all got to be working together. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
You know, one thing about I was just thinking about Super D that you haven't even mentioned at this point. You know, you're a little brother kind of guy.
That's right.
I mean, you're always pro little brother. And you know, I mean, I love Tyler. I love Damian too. So I'm not saying I'm pro little brother. I'm pro older brother.
I'm just saying me, Tyler, Tim Farr, all little brothers. So
hey,
it's paying off.
It is a proven thing. Little brothers find a way.
Trevin White. I mean, the list goes on and on, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, hey, Tyler, what is your big motivation behind racing? I mean, what's that thing that just draws you in, just hooks you and makes you week in and week out just want to go out and get this thing?
I'd say the biggest thing is pulling a whole shot. I mean, there's no better feeling in the world than just getting out front. But I mean, other than that, just the people around the racetrack, you know, hanging out with everybody and cutting up, having a good time. It's always fun. Never any drama over at my trailer anyways.
Yeah,
that's just always a good time.
That is definitely a positive thing. It's a family thing for you. You got lots of friends out there. But I don't know if you've, you know, listened back to our previous podcast and previous seasons. You have multiple nicknames, and Whole Shot King being one of them, because you do have a craft and a knack for that. That's for sure. But that's what I would personally. I always wanted to try to go and get out there and get the whole shot, and then just set the pace like that. But man, you have definitely you've got a knack for the whole shots. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're really fun to pull.
I remember back to, you know, when I first got back into the racing scene, and here you were on that 98 machine that had about a 7.5-inch ride height. We've changed a little bit since those days, but you did used to run a gnarly high ride height.
Yeah, I did, and it had a -3 swing arm on it also.
I love it.
It was locked down all the time.
You had it sucked up to like 45, 44 inches as well. I mean, you just had that thing up in the air, and you lean off the side and make it happen.
It was fast, though.
You were absolutely ripping. There is no doubt about that. I'm not knocking your setup at all, but it is one thing that jumped out to me and that I definitely noticed.
Tyler's going, what's your point, man? We did good on that thing.
My point was it stood out, you know, so there you go. So tell me what, to this point, Tyler, what is your greatest memory? Like, what is, I mean, this past weekend's got to rank up there, but what is your best memory to date?
I'm going to say probably my rookie season in Kinston, North Carolina. I ended up actually wrecking in the heat race, and I had to borrow some parts. I bent the steering stem, and we borrowed parts and got the bike back together, and I actually ended up coming back and winning the pro main event as a rookie pro. So,
ooh, that is quite the memory. You didn't know any better. Said, you know, rookies a lot of times need to earn their spot, and you said, I'm going to earn mine right at the top of the box, huh?
Right.
That's super cool. That's super cool.
And impressive. It was a little tale of what was to come.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully a lot more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're not a one and done guy. We're here for the long haul.
No, and with these good finishes this last weekend, it moves you to top 3 in points, Tyler. So that's got to be feeling good going into our last round here in Muskingum, to be in top 3 in points, and then hopefully see if we can get back to the top of the box again, right?
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to try to run that short track also, the oval.
That's what I'm talking about. I had said earlier after Pine Lake, I really felt like you were the contender that was about to really challenge CJ, and it sure looks that way. Like you and Jace, you're on my radar. Like you guys you're the next thing. I mean, you've got wins, you're stacking them up, but I think we're going to see you guys really ascend and start dominating this EDT world, or challenging CJ in his current domination for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing I want to do. Just give him some competition, and I mean I don't care who wins. If he wins, I'm happy. If I win, I'm happy. But it's just always fun racing with him and try to give him somebody to actually battle with.
Mm-hmm.
I love that mentality, man. You got a winner's mentality, but a respect as well, and that is something that's cool about the ATV community. Like, we're not out there. It's not cutthroat. Like, I mean, we're competitors, and everybody that lines up definitely wants to win. You're going to give it your all, but we got respect for one another. I mean, if it's CJ that takes it, if it's Brad that takes it, if it's you that take it, like y'all all respect each other and like, all right, I mean, I'm going to get you next time, but good race, way to go.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So
that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. I mean, that's racing at its finest. That's the grassroots racing. That's the blue collar racing that we do in the EDT world. That is for sure. List out some other things that you think are really special or unique about our ATV EDT racing community.
I don't really know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I just threw you some curveball there. That's what I do sometimes.
You're right.
I start chasing rabbits and just go after whatever. But I know there are multiple things that we mention within the racing world. The competitiveness, but the camaraderie as well that comes with the EDT racing. I mean, we think back to when Chucky won the championship and Brian Ace lended him his machine. We've seen Brad do that for Aaron when Aaron's machine goes down, and I think it just, time in and time out, you see things like this happen. I mean, you see Brian stepping up for you and providing a machine, and just the team that you guys have created, and where you've gone in such a short time in a transition to the pro class and a transition from the TRX platform to the CRF. It's just really exciting to see what all is going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Super D. I was thinking you were going to jump in there.
I love it. Sorry, I was doing some homework here, and I'll circle back to the homework I was doing. But it is awesome about our sport, and the thing is, like, the more you're around it, the more you get to know people and families and individuals. Like, this sport is way, 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 way too small to like be cutthroat. Like, I love Tyler's mentality. Like, hey man, I'm here to compete, but if that guy wins, hey, great job, man. I'm coming for you next week, But at the same time, I got 6 chicken houses and a note over my head to take care of, and I got to make some bread while the sun's shining. Like, I want to compete on the weekends, but I got to go back to work on Mondays. So I mean, it kind of changes your perspective, man. And I think that's a great attitude to have moving forward, and be a good influence to those younger guys, So, hey, thinking about that, Tyler, who were kind of some of the guys that you looked up to as you were coming up? Maybe when you first started, back, as you're an amateur, most of the guys that were racing pro then are currently still racing. There's Brad and Chucky, they've been around for a long time. But was there someone else that played a factor and someone you looked up to?
I mean, I always watched Brad coming up. I mean, he was always my favorite pro rider, but I mean, I can't think of his name right now. He helps Michael Houghton and them out.
Harold Goodman.
The Bumblebee. Harold the Bumblebee Goodman.
I used to watch him a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, Brad and Harold, they were my two go-tos.
Go-to guys.
So you watched Harold for the whole shots.
That
right. Is one thing that Harold had on lock all the time. That dude could whole shot like nobody's business.
You even said that about the Legends race, that basically Harold's telling everybody, listen, I'm going to get the whole shot, and then I'm going to get out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold on as long as I can, but I'm definitely getting the whole shot.
Yes, and he did that. In the heat race, I was in his heat, and he was at the flag stand, and I think that we were still on the starting line. It's like,
Yeah, he paid
oh
off
my
Danny.
gosh.
He paid off Danny Dirte, and he's like, "Hey man, let this slide." You know?
Let me take off 15 bike lengths ahead of everyone else.
No, he was just that good.
I thought I got a good reaction, but yes, he absolutely just murdered me on the start. So
Hey, the reason I stalled there and what I was looking at, dude, Tyler, I'm sure you're aware of this, but this season, if things continue on the trajectory they're on, you were going to finish in the top 3 in points in all 3 classes, dude. And the Pro-Am Open class, CJ's leading it. 8 points behind him is Brad, and then 1 more point behind Brad is you. So, man, there's a lot to be racing for at Dresden here in a couple weeks, dude. That is awesome. That's what before I said anything, I'm like, I got to double check this real quick because I thought Aaron was closer in one of the classes, but Aaron is not. Sorry, Aaron. So yeah, man, you are crushing it this season. Top 3 in points with 2 of the baddest dudes around. Man, it's been awesome, like a sneaky, quiet, awesome season. But I tell you what, man, the dragon has awoken this last weekend at Pine Lake. That's for sure.
Yeah, it makes me kind of. If I'd have had that CRF at the beginning, we might be at the number 1 spot.
What's funny is at Pine Lake, obviously you were riding really, really well, and I'm like, Brian, dude, where was it? And he goes, I know. We just dragging our feet, waiting on some things. You know how it goes. I said, yeah, I get it, man. But hey, 25 is looking real good.
yes, it is. 25 is looking bright.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Well, hey, Tyler, you mentioned a little bit of your sponsors a little bit earlier, but is there anybody else that you want to thank before we get you out of here?
I mean, I'll go over all of them. Lonnie Eby, DASA, PP Suspension, Danny at Jet Lab, and Tate Harmon with Who's a Racing Tire, Forworks Carbon, Thor Racing, and then Brian Robertson with Element 44. And QI hybrids. Yeah, that's about it.
That's a good.
And also my dad. I mean, he's done more than I could probably ever deserve, and I mean he's the reason I am where I'm at.
That's right. He gave you.
Couldn't have done it without him.
He gave you life, Tyler. Don't forget that.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
kidding. No, your dad he's a good guy, and he is the reason you're racing in the first place. So super cool. We love your dad. We love Keith.
Yeah, and also my beautiful girlfriend, she tags along with me at every race and makes sure I stay fed and hydrated. And it's always good to have somebody by your side.
That is absolutely true. Somebody who'll take care of you and keep you conditioned. That's for sure. Well, Tyler, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for taking some time out of your night to join us here on the podcast and let the listeners know about yourself, man.
All right, man. I appreciate y'all having me.
All right. Well, that's Tyler King. Tell you what, y'all stay with us and we'll be right back. Hey, man, want to give a big shout out to Tyler King for giving us some time tonight. Cool to visit with him. Chicken farmer.
A chicken farmer and a catfisher.
Chicken farmer.
I didn't know it. I thought everybody in North Carolina did concrete work.
I did too.
But
Who knew?
Here we go. We've got Tyler King, an entrepreneur, a chicken farm man.
Chicken farm man.
Love it.
Quietest chicken farmer. I talked to his dad yesterday, and he was working on something, and I guess Keith didn't want to mention that, hey, my son bought chicken houses.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I'm just saying, if Coop one day buys some chicken, I'm posting that everywhere.
Be like,
yo.
Black Fork Chicken House.
That's right. That's what we would do. Faux show. But again, as we were kind of texting there on Sunday, once everything, it's like, hey, Pine Lake's rained out. This is how they're going to do things, yada, yada. We both kind of, without knowing what the other was thinking, it's like, we better reach out to old Tyler King, get him on. But yeah, it goes 1-1-1. And there was one other, I think it was the pro race that I missed the start, and I was just kind of listening, and I ran in there because I could hear Eric going, Tyler King takes out Brad Riley. And I was like, what? That doesn't sound right. And so, but what it was, this is just my opinion, but what it looked like was Tyler ripped a start, and it just kind of pulled left real hard, and he just kind of bumped Brad a little bit, and Brad's like, what in the world's going on? So it was a little chaos there, but they gathered it all back up. So
no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul, man. But I tell you what, dude, they a big shout out to all of Tyler and his sponsors, Brian, the tires, the PP, the Element 44, dude, the Motor package. It is all working. But I told you from the beginning, Mitch, we've got this cane brake cause for concern.
Cane brake cause for concern. And you said it involved me?
No, it involves Tyler.
Oh, okay. All right, good deal.
The concern is...
Because I was concerned. I'm like, what are you concerned about with me?
We kind of touched on it already. But the concern is, dude, next season, I believe that the 2013 Pixar Disney hit Frozen, the line is... it is love is an open door. I'm going to edit it and say EDT in 25 is an open door. I'm telling you.
EDT is an open door for 2025.
The Pro Spec Tire and Pro-Am Open. I mean, look at what's happening here at the end of the season, you know.
Yep.
Brad and CJ are unbelievable guys. The tip of the hat, dude. Awesome. But old Jace and Tyler King.
How things can change so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? At the beginning of the season and not too long ago, we're like, dude, CJ is unstoppable.
Yep.
We were trying to claim we're the only ones who ever beat him.
That is
in
true.
In the Team 90 race.
That is true.
But, you know, Hercules.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's a cause for concern.
The cause for concern.
Yep.
We may eat our words, and that's the fun thing about it. We enjoy eating crow. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Not really, but it's awesome to think about that door being open, and now we have 4 or 5 guys that can potentially go at it. That makes racing exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it is super cool to see like what CJ's done this year and to win another one and to see what Joel did and go undefeated.
Oh,
but man, as a fan of the sport, you just enjoy when you say, who is it? Who's the dude?
As
or
hyped
who are
as
the
we
dudes?
get over the youth all-star, the junior 12 to 15, same thing. We have waves of guys. And if you think about Tyler and Jace, they've both been racing at a high level for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things like, to run that pace, and you can attest to this, to run that pace and to be that consistent, you've got to be like verge of out of control, but still in control, and be comfortable there and hit your mark every time, no matter the condition.
That is the biggest challenge because at that level, you have to figure out how to literally go that 110. You're like, you know, right now I'm going fast into this corner, but I need to go 5 more bike lengths. And then that grows into, I need to let off now. No, I've got to take a breath. I've got to hold it on a little bit longer into that corner, man. And, you know, so at times you are just on the edge to really figure out how to go that speed, but then you have to do that consistently without mistake. And it's incredible that these guys can do it. And, we're here for it.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, we could eat our words. We may sound like we're no professionals, but I mean, we are the #1 ATV podcast in the EDT world. So I mean, we might know a thing or two. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But
hey, speaking of words, you kind of teed it up perfectly.
I was trying to.
We have all kinds of words. We make mistakes in our words. We say a lot of words on this podcast.
We do.
But you know, words do have a lot of weight. Words can mean a lot, and how we can use them can really have a domino effect. So why don't we get in a little scripture?
Yep.
And let's look at what we should do with our words and how we should be using our words in the appropriate manner.
Okay.
So
what are you thinking about?
Super D kind of hit me with your thoughts on words. You know, I was listening.
yeah.
I was listening to some stuff recently, and they're talking about the weight of words aren't equal. Being like negative words are much heavier. They have much more weight than positive words. But you know, ultimately, it's those positive words that kind of encourage us and push us forward and challenge us. But at times those negative words that we've heard throughout our life, you know, whatever, you know, someone said something negative about us can kind of drag us back. So I just wanted to bring up the thought of when we say words, what's our point in the words we're saying? And especially when directed directly towards people.
Yeah. I think when we were putting together, you were putting together the outline, and I looked on here and saw this, I immediately had a flashback to, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, a sermon from here at church, and they were talking about, pastor was talking about life-giving words and life-taking words. And it was just kind of a simple phrase, but as he kind of, you know, peeled the layers of that apart, it's like, those are really the only two options we have.
Yeah.
You know, because we're either trying to build people up and invest in other people, or we're trying to cut them down to make ourselves look better, whatever. You know, and we both have younger kids, and it's so evident that, you know, to be careful of what I say or what I mean versus what I say, because I'm really bad about that. And even Cooper the other day said something, and I wheeled around and looked at him, and he's like, well, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. And I said, well, you know, okay, bud, but what you said, this is what you said, and this is what that means. And he's like, I didn't mean it like that. And I'm like, well, you got to choose your words carefully, you know? And so it's something that this is something that, you know, I have to work on a lot, because even my face says things sometimes, you know, I don't even have to say any words, but it's just like, what in the world, you know, and I have to be really careful with it. I'm getting better about it. But, you know, one of the scriptures you have there, Matthew 5:37, hey, man, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Like, just, it doesn't have to be like.
It's like the good old handshake thing.
Yeah.
You know, like everything doesn't have to be a contract and a he said, she said. Just simply do what you say you'll do, you know, like own up to it. So when you talk to somebody and you say you'll do something, follow through and do it. That says a lot about your character right there. Yeah.
And you know, at the end of the day, your reputation does mean a lot.
Yes.
And, You've done business now for many years. I've done a little less business for a few less years. But the thing is, like, just different contractors and builders and individuals that I work with, they'll be like, hey, man, is there any kind of contract? And I go, man, I said, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I said, I'll be there, you know. And and we've got some long time, you know, partners now that their business has grown, ours has too, and it was on a handshake. But because they said they were going to do it, I said I was going to do it, and it's worked out really, really good. You know, now that's not all. I'm not saying every deal you do should be a handshake.
Absolutely,
a handshake. But for me, that means something. You know?
Absolutely.
And I try to live by that.
I mean what I say, and I say what I mean.
Yeah.
When it comes to, you know, interactions and stuff.
Right.
But, you know, I'm thinking about the things we say to one another and building each other up. Let's look at a couple verses here that Paul writes for us. So in Ephesians 4, verse 29, he says, don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. And he also says in Colossians 4:6, let your conversation always be full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. So I think really, you know, 2 points that Paul is making here is think about what you say before you say it. And don't say things to cut others down, but to give them life and to build them up, because your words can mean a lot, you know. I think you and I, like with our words, a lot of it's joking, and that's fine. I mean, I think it's fine to speak in sarcasm and things like that, but I think we should always speak to and about people the same way we want people to speak to and about us, and I think that just carries a long way.
Well, and that's one thing too. Like what I'm gonna say, like to Mitchell's face right now, I would say that online. I would say that in a text message. I try to be the same everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things too. So many of the words we say now may be in the form of of text, like written word, but those words, it's the same thing. Like your voice is you're still trying to make your voice heard.
Yeah.
And I think Jesus set the example to go, it's not about you. It's about our Father. It's this is what life is about. And I've given you were created on purpose for a purpose. So use that purpose, recognize where your gifts and talents come from, and then give all the glory to God.
Absolutely.
It's not hard. And another thing here, I'm going to
I mean, it is a challenge.
Yes, sorry. It shouldn't be, but
it shouldn't be, but it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a challenge because our innate nature is it's about me.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I have to say to build me up and make me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But when we choose to follow Christ and he shows us that we were designed to live a different way, and that's for others.
Yep.
I mean, we give these instructions from his word, but this isn't truly what changes us. What changes us is being in a relationship with him.
Ooh.
And then that leads to us seasoning, having that salt seasoning in our words and things like that.
Isn't that funny that Paul talks about salt there in Colossians, and Jesus talks about salt in the book of Matthew, and he says, "You are the salt of the earth."
Yeah,
our job is to give flavor. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yes, preserve life. Those things that salt does.
Yep. Just a little side note here as we kind of wrap things up. And what this is just a soapbox. This is a cause for concern. This is a cane break cause for concern.
More causes for concern.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things that I got to speak last Monday to our 7th grade football team, and I went back to my go-to verse, man. I really have to lean on this thing a lot. James, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Hey, just because you're mad doesn't mean you can say what you want. I'm going to say that again. Just because you're mad or upset with someone doesn't mean you get you have this open door to say mean and rude and hateful things, and then later on go, "Hey, I'm sorry I said that, I was mad." That doesn't make it right. That's not like a hall pass. Well, all right. Yeah, we knew you. Man, your word, those words still mean something, So if there's something that's causing you to act that way or to be in that shape, maybe avoid that thing, or try to limit the exposure that's causing you to act that way so that you don't say those things. So anyway, that's just something I always get, especially it seems like I work with teenagers and, they have life figured out, not. But I'll always be like, "Hey, man, where's so-and-so?" "Oh, well, he got in trouble from his parents. He got mad at him and said some stuff or whatever." And I'm like, that's like a weekly thing, someone will say something. And it's like, hey, just because you're mad, just be mad. You don't even have to talk. Just be mad. Get over it, because I think that's one of those little footholds that the enemy man can take and run with,
Yeah.
And then you feel guilty afterwards. You feel like crap. You're like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that." Yeah, you shouldn't have. So just don't say it.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the biggest regrets or worst moments in your life is when you've let your mouth react instead of just hold your tongue.
Got kicked out of a 9th grade football game. I've told that story on here.
Yeah.
Have I? You're looking at me like, no, you haven't.
I'm not recalling, but now granted, you probably could have in my memory.
Here, just a recap. Long story short, terrible football game. Refs cost us the game. Blah, blah, blah. You don't care. But yeah,
yes, you'd have shared that story on here.
9th grader
came back,
got in a referee's face, told him some truly unholy things, and I got ejected. I put that on my resume.
Oh, well.
Push me. See what happened. No, I'm just kidding.
He loves and encourages everything. But one time.
And what's funny is some of my church staff members, they were there helping. We served lunch to the 7th grade team, yada, yada. And I told that story, and they're just looking at me, they're like, "You made that up. That's just an illustration." And I said, "That is true as I'm standing right here before you." They're like, "We've never seen you mad." And I said, "There's a good reason for that, because the last time I got kicked out of a football game." It ain't worth it, man. It ain't worth it. So, Mitchell.
Good stuff.
Good time. Great episode, 58.
I think that's a wrap on 58, man.
I think so, too.
All right.
Got anything you want to add?
I think that's good, bud. Let's
Close us
wrap
out,
her up.
man.
All right,
Let's do
Father
it.
God, thank you for everything you've done for us, God. We thank you again for the opportunity to just be a part of this EDT racing community, God. I pray you'll be present in it, that you'll just extend your grace and your mercy to everyone, that God, that those that don't know you, that they would find you, they would seek you daily and just let you transform their life. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Hey, thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.